Strap in. Story time from Disney. Now, if you follow me on a regular basis, you know that I used to be a cast member. That's me. The other day, I did a video where I talked about how I do not ride any type of roller coaster that I have to be evac'd off of, that I would not be comfortable being evac'd off of said ride. I also said I do not ride fair rides. I will not ride a ride that was on the highway 45 minutes ago. And I had two big comments. One was that the video I used was from Cedar Point, and people were trying to tell me that they are safe, and I agree. I never said Cedar Point wasn't safe. I'm saying Cedar Point has a lot of attractions that I wouldn't go on because I don't want to be evac'd from them. Same is to be said about some Universal rides. They are well put together and safe, constantly checked, not worried about that. I'm worried about having to walk down a high, place. I'm worried about having to go from way up there to way down here. But I had multiple comments from people that work at fairs tell me they are totally safe. They are checked anytime they are put down, and I shouldn't be worried. So I did what any rational person should do when they get worried about information. I looked up more information. And I did find some interesting things about carnival rides. So apparently any person that runs an attraction at a carnival, they have a state-issued checklist that they must go down and fill out. And once they have placed a vehicle down, the state inspector will come and check everything and give them the okay to roll. And I went, okay, that's good information. Cool. Now let's check what Reddit says. Now what I find about Reddit is a lot of times they'll say, yeah, those are the rules, but here's what's actually happening. And a lot of them told me it depends on the state, and a lot of state inspectors won't even check heavily, that the ride technician will check a lot more. And I like that. I like knowing that a ride technician cares about their ride. Here's my problem. I have eyes, and I see things happening. And I'll tell you, I do not trust those rides and how flimsy they are, but I understand they're not going to fall apart. What I don't trust is people. Good people check their attractions every time they roll them out. People that don't care or have gotten comfortable with their jobs do not. Because one thing Disney does really well is they train their attraction cast members to know exactly how the attraction works. They don't do evacs great. But that's a whole nother video. We'll talk about cast members and evacs. But one of the major rules of an attraction, you ever seen one of those cast members stand at those podiums? They're the ones that push the buttons and send you on your way. Well, you see, they have these two big buttons. One's a ride stop, and one's an e-stop. And if at any time the vehicle is in motion and there are guests anywhere near it, your hand should be over the e-stop. I take that back. Let me rephrase that. Anytime the vehicle is in motion in any way, your hand right over that e-stop. That is so if something happens, you can stop the ride immediately. That way, if anybody were to come in contact with one of the vehicles, you could stop it before it smushes them. And you might have seen those cast members and thought they were acting real serious. And that's because they were. So herein lies my problem. Since I worked at Disney, I've been to 2 county fairs. Each one of them having about, 6 or 7 rides. Between those 2 times, I saw one person with their hand on the emergency button while the ride was in motion. One! And they were still on their phone. I've seen people walking around smoking, talking on their phone. Like, they stayed 10 to 20 feet from the console. I one time saw a man eat a hot dog and smoke a cigarette at the same time as he fiddled with a piece that fell off his attraction. You're probably asking yourself, how did he fiddle with it if he had a cigarette in one hand and a hot dog in the other? Well, I'll tell you, I was also impressed. Because the thing is, it's not always the ride that's the issue when it comes to safety. The ride can be super safe in almost all ways. But there's the expectation that a human is keeping an eye on it. And I've kept more of an eye on it than a lot of the technicians. I also know that larger amusement parks not only do the state safety checks, they have their own companies come in and do safety checks. At Disney, every so often, you'd have this person that would come around and they would just start asking you questions about the attraction. What do you do if you smell smoke? What do you do if a person falls into the track? Just a bunch of random questions about how you handle a situation if it were to come up. And I don't think they're doing that at the state fairs. I appreciate that there are people out there that take it seriously, but I'm gonna tell you, I haven't seen them yet. If I'm gonna ride something or let anybody in my family ride something, I want to see somebody with a hand over a stop button. Because emergency situations don't knock, they kick the door in. And I don't see you handling it real well with a hot dog in this hand and a cigarette in that one. But I have been fooled before. Much